Have you ever actually stopped and wondered how this explainer is getting to you? Right now, on your screen. I mean, it feels like magic, but it's not. It's a real physical journey. So, let's dive in and follow a single piece of data as it travels thousands of miles from a server all the way to you. First things first, we need to tackle a huge misconception about how all this works. Because the answer isn't way up in the clouds or beaming down from space, it's actually deep, deep under the ocean. No, seriously, think about that for a second. The data for this content, it's sitting on a server that could be on a totally different continent, and yet here it is, playing on your device with basically zero delay. How on earth is that even possible? Right, so a lot of people immediately think satellites. And sure, satellites are useful for some things, but for most of our internet, that 44,000-mile round trip into space and back would create this massive delay. We call it latency. It would make streaming or online gaming an absolute nightmare. The real answer is actually much closer to home. In fact, it's right under our feet. So, if it's not satellites, then what is it? Well, the truth is, the internet has a physical backbone, a real tangible network of wires that connects the entire globe. You're looking at it. The internet, for the most part, is a gigantic interconnected web of fiber optic cables laid on the ocean floor. We are talking about hundreds of thousands of miles of these things, literally wrapping the planet and carrying almost all of our international data at pretty much the speed of light. And getting these cables down there is just an incredible feat of engineering. You have these specialized ships that slowly unspool them for thousands of miles. Sometimes they even use a giant underwater plow to dig a trench on the seabed to keep the cable safe. It's this massive infrastructure project happening all the time, completely out of sight. Okay, so we've got the physical highways, but how does the data know where to go? Out of billions of devices online, how does it find your specific phone or computer? Well, for that, the internet needs an addressing system, kind of like a global postal service. And the heart of that system is the IP address. Every device connected to the internet, your phone, your laptop, the server that's sending you this explainer, has its own unique IP address. It's just like a home address on a letter. Without it, the data would have no idea where to go. But let's be real, you don't want to memorize a long string of numbers for every website you visit. That would be impossible. And that's where the DNS, the domain name system, comes to the rescue. The easiest way to think of it is as the internet's giant phone book. You give it a simple, human-friendly name, and it looks up the correct computer-friendly IP address. And this all happens in the blink of an eye. You type a web address, your browser sends a quick message to a DNS server asking, hey, what's the IP for this? The server instantly replies with the right address, and boom, your browser knows exactly which server in the entire world it needs to talk to. This happens every single time you go online. So now we have the route and we have the address. But how does the actual stuff, the video, the audio, the text, get sent? It doesn't just travel as one enormous file. The internet uses a much, much cleverer system. It takes that massive file and chops it up into thousands, sometimes millions, of tiny little pieces called packets. It might sound complicated, but breaking big things into these small, manageable chunks is what makes the whole system so incredibly flexible and efficient. Each one of these packets is like a tiny, self-contained package. It has a little piece of the data, it has the to and from IP addresses, and this is the really important part. It has a sequence number. That number is basically the instruction manual for how to put all the pieces back together in the perfect order when they arrive. And this method is what makes the internet so revolutionary. See, old networks were circuit switched. Think of an old telephone call where a dedicated line was open just for you. It stayed open the whole time, wasting all that space if nobody was talking. The internet is packet switched. Packets from you, me, and thousands of other people can all travel on the same cables at the same time, sharing the space. It's just unbelievably efficient. So our little data packets have zipped across oceans and continents. They've found the right city, the right neighborhood. Now it's time for that final, crucial leg of the journey, getting from the street into your house and onto your screen. And this is where your home router gets to be the hero of the story. It acts as a translator. It takes those pulses of light coming from the fiber optic cable and converts them into electrical signals. From there, it can send those signals through an old-school Ethernet cable, or it can translate them one more time into radio waves, which we all know and love as Wi-Fi, to beam the data wirelessly to your devices. All right, let's just zoom out for a second. We've been following one tiny packet on its journey, but it's really important to get that the internet isn't just one single thing. It's a network of networks, all working together at different scales, So at the smallest scale, you've got a LAN, a local area network. That's your home Wi-Fi. Now you connect a bunch of those LANs together across a city or a big campus, and you get a MAN, a metropolitan area network. And when you connect all of those LANs and MANs across entire countries and continents, you get a WAN, a wide area network. The internet, it's the ultimate WAN. And really, that's the big secret. There isn't one single internet. It's just a massive cooperative agreement between millions of smaller independent networks that have all decided to speak the same language so they can share information. You know, when you put it all together, from the cables under the sea to the DNS lookup to those thousands of packets reassembling perfectly on your device, it's just incredible. Every single click you make, every tap, every stream, it's all part of this perfectly coordinated dance of light and logic, happening millions of times a second across this hidden global web. So the next time you stream something, just take a second to remember the wild physical journey those little packets took just to get to you. It's a pretty amazing reminder of the complex, invisible systems that are running our world, hiding in plain sight. Thanks for joining me for this one.